Hello, friends. My name is Dane Miller.
And I'm Niall Spain. And we are your fuck buddies.
We are a sex and dating advice podcast where we take your sticky, sexy situations and turn them into sexy, sticky situations.
Simply put, we find questions either roaming the barren wastelands of the internet, or we get them sent in by wonderful listeners such as yourself. We answer them right here, right now, every Monday, in your ears. And we love you.
You nailed the head, hammer,
Whoa.
nail head on the hammer.
Great start.
Hammerhead. I deep dived the other day into
The empty internet theory? That's all just bots?
I mean, there's that. I mean, I would hope. I want to believe that there aren't other people. But no, I was looking into like AI and AI's like influence on like internet creation and stuff. And have you seen the thing about asking AIs how many R's are in strawberry?
Yeah.
Did someone share that to us today?
I don't know.
But it's just like how they just like, it just breaks AI's brain.
It's awful. It's just so bad.
And it's just like, and then I went down a rabbit hole of like all these things that like AI just can't figure out.
Most things.
Yeah. And it's just like,
well, like the best is Google using it as their like first like response. And it's just like, eat stones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Glue.
This Onion article says to eat stones. Put glue to thicken up your shit. And it's like, dumb people are going to die.
Well, like, especially with Google, where they, like, originally, there was, like, you know how when you type something in, it's like, did you mean whatever? If you hotlink things enough, you could force Google to think that, like, when people want X, they actually mean Y. So, like, way back in the day with George Bush, anytime anyone searched, linked George Bush, they would hotlink to the Wikipedia page for idiot. So when you would type in George W. Bush, it would be like, did you mean idiot?
Yeah.
Or if you searched idiot, it was like, do you mean George W. Bush?
That's pretty fun.
And it was just like, surely you know that, like, when we had rudimentary troll technology, we fucked with it. You really don't think that people are going to fuck with AI, which is so easy to fuck with?
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm just my rant about how bad everything is.
Yeah, everything is bad, but you know what's not bad? This show.
Yeah.
And this week in our Not Bad show, we're going to talk about why do women say the bar is so low for men?
I would do anything, but not that.
Should I have told the man at the gym he makes me feel sweaty so I can't work out near him?
Having an innie or outie labia.
Oh, yeah. But first, we're going to do some sex news.
Ooh.
Yeah. And this is just like a not the state of the nation. Yeah, fuck it. It's state of the nation.
State of the nation.
There's something
Which nation? We don't have to tell you.
There's something really funny going on with I believe it's like a gotcha game.
Okay.
So you like collect things and you roll and
like
you
a Genshin Impact.
Yes, but this is a hentai one.
Okay.
Yeah. It is a male player-oriented multiplayer hentai gotcha game where you pull characters, train them, assemble an army, and battle other players. You raise character affections by sending them gifts and then fucking them. And the winner of the battle captures the loser's characters and fucks them.
Okay.
So sex play is integral and you get in-game resources and, you know, it is very straight-oriented, right? It is all, or not all women, mostly women. The character pool is mixed gender, but it's like 1 to 10, male to female.
Okay.
But there are obviously like lower polls and stuff, so like more common things and rarer ones. Like the very hot women are really rare and you don't usually get them. So you just start to get a lot of men because they're unwanted.
Right.
Which means people have more male characters than female. They also don't like to send out their female characters in case they get captured and fucked by the other players.
Yeah.
So people are basically sending out all male squads versus all male squads. So everyone's prison is filled with male squads that they then have to fuck to get in-game resources because you can't also release them from your prison otherwise. So everyone's really, really upset because the whole game that's meant to be this person's like sexy straight fantasy. They just have to fuck seas of men, and I just find that really funny.
And what game is this?
Orisries.
Okay. Yeah.
Dane's typing it in. Oh, Dane's downloading it right now.
Yeah. Somehow I was already downloading it.
Yeah. I just find that really funny. It's, you know, that's our sex news. But I will start with this gem from Seduction by I've Caught a Wild Gigolo. Why do women say the bar is so low for men? Yet to get any results from cold approach as an average guy, the interaction has to be exceptional, basically. And even then, nothing is guaranteed. I say this after gaming a group I met at a restaurant, getting a number at the end of it, just to get no response later on, despite making decent conversation with other friend, and coming off as decently socially calibrated. Conversation did lack teasing and emotional spikes, and I just started off with a direct opener right off the bat, and the girl responded well, but seems like because I wasn't exceptionally funny or entertaining, I just ended up getting thrown in the trash. Doesn't make any fucking sense. Women will date a boring, average, below average looking dork from their social circle, but if a funnier, more handsome guy approaches them IRL, they have to be exceptional to get on a date with her.
Oh man, at first I thought the question was about capturing a wild gigolo, and I was very excited about that.
No.
I had Jigglypuff fucking jokes just locked and loaded, but
you can
now,
hit me with one.
Nope, not until it happens. This is like, I love where we always fall back to but a boring, ugly, normal, below average guy can get her. Why can't I? It's like my guess is your judgments of whether a man is like interesting or whatever, like you are so bad at social situations that because you assume every man is like competition, like I highly doubt that there are dudes that you don't know that you think highly of, because you either think they're like subpar and shouldn't be dated, or that they're like some mega chad that you want to be and therefore is competition and you must crush, or like send you in a spiral of insecurity or whatever. Like, I don't think there's many dudes like who think like this, who then also look at dudes and like think you're on my playing level and therefore I respect you. Right? Like, I think it's two categories of you're a trash garbage man that shouldn't ever feel the emotional connection of another person because of your looks or whatever, and then like this guy's a fucking legend and therefore he's gonna come in and swoop my woman and put him in his prison dungeon to fuck her for resources.
But even then, it's like, it's just another great example of seduction, like almost getting it right, kind of, but just completely missing the mark, where it's like, oh, they're saying the bar is so low for men, right? Are they talking about cold approach? I just love the fact that he's like, women are so low, the bar is so low for men. And he's like, they must be talking about cold approach.
Yeah.
And no part of him thinks like, oh, I wonder what they're talking about. Or, oh, maybe I should read further than that sentiment, or ask anybody, or think maybe this thing, if they're saying the bar is low, but this thing I'm doing isn't working.
Yeah, it's you're setting the bar, dude. Like when we talk about the bar as being low, it's like you walking up to a group of women at a bar, probably because you don't know them, and getting a number or whatever. I think that's what he said, right? He gets her number. And it's like, she probably gave you that number so you would leave her alone. And she didn't ghost you because that number probably wasn't hers. You probably sent a text to a random person that she gave you a random number to just so you would leave her alone.
And that's the 16th number this random person has gotten. And they're like, why?
Yeah.
But it's just because it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And it's easy for women to give that one out.
This poor guy was like, hell yeah, this is the best phone number.
I'll never forget it.
Yeah. God damn it. So you need to, like...
The bar is low in that you don't need to do this, and this is bad. The bar is low in that all you really need to do is be chill and normal.
Yeah, like we're talking about like the bar being low because very rarely do men approach women with a level of respect and courtesy that you aren't showing. So if you're thinking, hey, if the bar is so low, why is it not working for me? It's because you're under the bar, dude. And if the bar is low, you're bad.
Yeah.
Like, you're in a bad territory. If the bar is 2 centimeters off the ground, you're under that because it's not working for you. So that should tell you a lot about the way you're approaching women, the way women feel around you, the way that you make women, like the way women perceive you as a romantic and sexual partner and as a person. Like, all those things are really, really bad for you specifically. So if someone was like, I'd eat anything, and you've watched them eat glass, and then you serve up some food that's garbage, and they're like, no, I'm not hungry, actually. You can't sit there and be like, well, I've seen them eat McDonald's, and I've seen them eat fucking garbage food, but they won't eat my food?
So they must be a liar. You say, oh, my food was trash.
Yeah.
My food was so trash. And maybe I look at how I cook instead of being like, no, they're lying.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, you suck is the thing. And also, again, women don't want cold approach, and they definitely don't want cold approach by way of seduction.
And
I'm talking about
like while they're out with their friends,
Yes.
you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. So the bar is low because people like this, as Dane said, make the bar low. This is what's making things so bad that a semi-normal interaction is like a godsend compared to this. So
yes, you've set up a situation where you should just be kind of like lightly stepping over, and yet somehow you're like, oh, is this a limbo game?
Yeah.
Cool. Let me scoot on under this bar.
Should I wriggle into the dirt like a worm to go under this?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're a little worm guy.
You're just a little worm guy.
So don't be shit.
And I want to also, like, I don't want to throw people who might not be having much luck in the, like, you know, real world sphere of, like, talking to women and whatever. Because, like, you might be a completely normal, respectful person who isn't pulling numbers and, like, getting dates in reality. And that's not to say that you specifically are under that bar, but you need to understand that, like, the bar that we talk about is a broad social construct of sort of like men have been really shit to women for a very long time. And so the expectation is so low for men. And while you might live up to the expectation or surpass it in terms of like, they might say, oh, hey, that guy was really nice. Oh, hey, he was super respectful. Oh, hey, that didn't bother me at all. I didn't feel threatened. I felt safe, whatever. But they still don't owe you the you know, a date
literally
or
fucking anything.
Yeah, you know, a conversation or to have a drink with you or whatever. Like, they don't owe you any of that. So I want, like, there's a distinction between being under this bar that's being set because you're actively being the problem. Yeah. And then there's also the people who are above that bar but aren't finding any luck just because of any number of things. And we've talked about all the reasons why someone might not be attracted to you.
Also,
and we can go on forever.
If we're going to start talking about bars being low or high, I would say that, like, in general, the bar is low. But when you're talking to someone, the bar is probably quite high because they're on guard from all the low bar boys wriggling through the dirt towards them. Yeah. So it's this weird, like, dichotomy where it's both at the same time. Where, like, arguably all you have to do is be chill, but they're going to have their guard up because they're assaulted 24/7 by weirdos. Yeah. So, you know, it's a weird thing, but again, just when this happens, maybe examine your choices and the way you do things.
Yes. And I think that's, like, true in any scenario where if you are getting stressed because all these guys in my friend group who aren't, you know, jacked or who aren't tall or who aren't, you know, the coolest dude, who don't, like, skateboard everywhere and do fucking backflips and shit. It's like, they're boring guys who are getting all these girls. It's like, well, maybe take a second to, like, internally reflect and be like, why? What's missing? And not to compare yourself to everyone, but, like, if your whole, you know, steez is going up and being like, hey, I'm a charismatic, high value man.
I'm decently socially calibrated.
Right.
Wow.
Like,
how exciting.
Phrases like that should be an indication that like people, have anyone ever told me they were socially calibrated to any degree? You know, like, if anyone was like, I'm highly calibrated for social interactions, I would immediately not want to talk to you.
Yeah, because that admission by itself means you're not.
Yeah.
You are not.
You sound like a robot.
Yeah.
Speaking of robots, going back to AI really quick, have you seen that there's a group in MIT that is turning like a AI by feeding them, like, sociopath and psychopathic? And it's like, why are you doing this?
Well, I feel like they don't even need to, because they just become Nazis almost immediately if you put them on the internet. It's like 2 fucking days and they're like, well, I'm transphobic Nazi now. It's like, God damn it,
I'm a
AI.
transphobic Nazi pedophile.
Yeah.
That's like every Twitter chatbot has ever become.
Yeah, so it's not good.
But yeah, it's just like, I'm like,
Can we stop doing the things that we have years, decades, centuries of being like, hey, don't do this.
Yeah, like books, movies. We have so much about it. And like
it's like if we spent decades being like, hey, if you like fucking jack up a bear on like super heroin and like give it adrenal shots and then put weapons on all of its limbs and then let it loose in a school packed with injured children, they're fucked. They get fucked up. They get wrecked. And then they're like, try it though.
Yeah, let's see what happens.
I don't know. Maybe it will tiptoe around them. Have you seen that with the bull in the china shop?
No.
You ever watch Mythbusters? Of course you have. You're
I actually have never watched a full episode of Mythbusters.
Get the fuck
I've
out.
seen like YouTube clips of like the cool shit that they've done, but I've never watched a full
I don't know
episode.
if we can even hang out right now.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Mythbusters is great, but they did it where they made a china shop and they let loose bulls in it, and the bulls are like really dainty and they're like, oh god, and they like are really careful not to knock anything over, and it's actually really cute to watch because the bulls are like, oh, and they like just snook around the corners and they don't knock over a single goddamn thing.
Well, yeah, like the idea that like bulls are these like wild creatures, it's like
they hate China. But it's a different kind.
They're super not cool with China.
It was more political than like pottery based,
yeah.
Which is also a thing they found out. They're like, that isn't a myth.
Yeah,
that's why they hate the color red. It's like
it's such a weird like thing of being like bulls are pissed off because like they have a dude on them. And they're aggravated to the point.
Pretty pissed off by that, too.
Right?
Look at the guys playing the hentai game. They're pissed off because there are dudes on them. It's all the same.
It's all the same. And the same thing with like the running of the bulls. It's like, yeah, man, like you scared a bunch of bulls and let them loose in the city.
Yeah.
Of course, like,
and then you get in their way.
this isn't their fucking fault.
If you were like, hey, now run to the end of this thing. Also, I'm going to scare you and chase you. I'm like, Jesus. And then if you jumped in front of me and then we're like, ow, you're an asshole. I'm like, I'm not. Yeah. I'm fleeing.
I'm trying to get away from the guy with the chainsaw.
Yeah. Like I'm quite scared and you're bad at getting out of my way.
Yeah. It's the whole bull thing. It's like sharks. Why don't we have bull week? Well, I don't know if that phrasing on that is great.
Yeah. I don't know.
Pornhub definitely has a bull week.
Ayo.
I just feel like bulls get a bad rap.
They do.
Because they're just like
bullshit. What's wrong with their shit?
They're just so abused. Like,
what's wrong with their shit?
In every category.
Yeah.
And it's like every time there's like a tragedy at a rodeo, I'm like, it's not a tragedy. Like, you deserve this. And I'm sorry if there's anyone out there who's lost someone in a rodeo accident.
I would love to know how many of our listeners are even peripherally involved with rodeos. I'm going to guess very few.
Very few, but there might be someone who's got like a real tragic. But like, if I, like, being a firefighter, you might be like, oh, well, they chose to get, but it's like they're doing a community service, right? Sure, like, yeah. What they're doing is a necessary.
If the fire fights back, it is tragic because they're trying to help people.
Yes.
Whereas, like, if you're just torturing an animal and then the animal then bites you.
Yeah. If like, I'm going to get on this bull to see how long I last, and then when it throws me off, it gores me because it's so pissed off because of what I've done to it. Like, that's not a tragedy, dude. Like,
yeah.
Right? Like, it's
also like if you break into someone's house and they fucking like hit you with a frying pan, it's like you need to, when you're breaking into a house, know, okay.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a high possibility someone bonks me with a frying pan. And then if you want to break into the house, that's fine.
Yeah.
It's not. But you've at least gone over that. And then, when they bonk you, you go, hey, dude, that's fine.
I feel very strongly about the treatment of bulls.
That's fair.
At rodeos specifically.
Are we ready for question number 2?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
20 minutes in.
This is from Remarkable Media. She told me to do anything I want to her. So I went to eat her out and she got upset. I love eating pussy because the best part of sex is making the other person feel good.
Oh, yeah, dude.
However, when she got upset, I realized that isn't what she meant by anything I want. As she explained it to me, that was code for be super rough and aggressively dominant with her. I don't like being dominant at all. I prefer sweet, sensual sex and pleasuring the other person. I don't care about my pleasure. Have I been misunderstanding this request all along? Is it not really about what I want, but about reading her mind and what she wants? And then update. She goes to me, LOL, I'm not upset. It's definitely for the best.
It is for the best. I like do whatever you want to me is bad.
It's a bad sexual cue if you don't have
a
history of what that means.
Mm-hmm. Which is why we talk about communication, which is why we talk about safe words, which is why engaging in sex in general, let alone any kind of further kink, involves conversation and safety tools. Yeah. And this goes completely against that because you can't have a blanket statement like that. I don't think a single person is ever like, yeah, I'm cool with everything.
Yeah.
Right? I do love that you did a pretty pedestrian thing though. And they were like, whoa, whoa, whoa.
And also like, yeah, it's very strange to me that was like their trigger where it's like, if you say, hey, do whatever you want with me, and someone's going to like, if he like starts going down and you're like, not that. It's like, well, okay, then you obviously, like, you can't say something as broad and vague as that and then get upset with what comes after. I mean, you can. You can, which is why you shouldn't say. Yes. You know what I mean? Like, let's get it out of the way. You should never say this because it is too vague. It doesn't count as consent, I don't think, at all. Because, again, consent is specific. Yeah. You don't just give blanket consent. That's fucked. Especially when you're like, oh, you can be as rough and as aggressive with me as you can. It's like, that's the worst thing to say in this. Like, I'm presuming that this is probably like a one night stand or like a first time scenario, right? Or fairly early in the sexual relationship. So like, one, she has no idea what this dude is.
Yeah.
Like, for all you know, he's going to fucking choke you.
Schmack.
Yeah, incorrectly and kill you, or really hurt you by like incorrect bondage, or like whatever,
or give
right?
you a sensual lick out, which also apparently could be terror. Like you don't want.
Yes, it's very strange to use that phrase when you have things that you feel so adversely against.
Yes,
right. And as Nell said, I don't think there's a person alive whose fucking dance card is just like anything.
Yes,
whatever. It's like that scene in Brooklyn Nine-Nine where he's like, you could do this, 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 and this. And then Jake's like, what can't I do? Oh, okay, what do you have in mind?
So look, person in question, if someone says this to you, it's bad because it's also hard to be like, well, hold on. What do you want? You know what I mean? It slows things down. It's why you don't have this conversation in the heat of the moment. But person saying it, if you have something in mind, if you want to be thrown around a little bit, try to be specific, but also you could just say that. You're like, oh, you can be a little bit rough with me if you want. Or like, hey, you can spank me. Or like, like there are ways to do this that aren't that. And clearly that is not working for you. So change it. And it's going to be better for you because one, you're going to get what you want. And two, it's going to be safer. And the person doing it won't be as lost. Like this is bad. This is bad.
And anytime we're talking about like a kink, as Nell said, it's like, something like this requires a lot of conversation and a lot of safety tools and a lot of like out of the bedroom conversation. Like you can't spring something like be as rough as you want with me on a person in the moment because you have no
idea what their stuff is, and importantly, they have no idea what your threshold is.
Yes, so it's all great to be in a hot and heavy moment, and you realize of being like, oh, I want it a little rougher, and like you said, it's like spank me, blah blah blah,
or
like,
you can just go harder, or like
say things like, oh, use me, like go into like a verbal roughness, a verbal aggression, because that's a lot safer than a physical one. And on top of that, if you find that you would like a little bit more aggression, that's fine, but don't expect it to be at the perfect level of what you're looking for, right? Like this, especially if it's like a first time or first couple times, be willing to be like, okay, I'm going to accept what's coming my way.
Direct it into the realm that I like. We're going to go to the rough hills over here. We're going to step out of, sensual caverns and we're going to go to the rough hills, and then maybe we'll go over to the bondage castle afterwards, right? Or the toss me around forest.
Once we hit the embassy where we get our, our visas and our paperwork and our stamps.
We're only level 1. We're not allowed in there yet. And that's the thing. You are level 1 in this case. And the thing is, if you're really, really experienced, you'd be able to give direct communication. Yeah. So clearly you are level 1.
The amount of women that I've been with who have been like, you can be rougher with me. And I'm always like, great to know, but not now. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, that's great. It's like, I will do rougher things, safer, you know what I mean? Like pinned hands, like that kind of stuff.
Yeah, like things, maybe.
But it's like, I'm not going to slap you. No. I'm not going to choke you.
No. Maybe I'll be a little bit rougher. Like maybe I'll fuck you a little harder. Maybe
I'll throw your legs around a little bit more, right? Like all the things that like I know I have full control over.
I will
that
increase a little bit. Yeah. Because that's what you like, and that's fine. But I'm not just going to be like, cool, let's go to 100, right? Like, no.
Yeah. And it's like, if you get annoyed at me, then you've done me like this guy said, where it's like, oh, like it's, it's not a big deal. I'm not upset. Like I know for a fact that like, if someone's upset with me, like I was once with someone who, like I was slowly like turning up the heat as they requested it. And they like, I could see them getting annoyed. And I was like, look, the
thermostat only goes like,
but I was like, the next steps are things that like require safe words. The next step. And I was like, we haven't had that, and I don't really want to stop where we are right now to have that chat.
If not being perfectly there is annoying you, how annoying is stopping it all and having a conversation?
Yeah. And I remember like I was trying to find a way to like phrase it in a way that was like hot and sexy, of being like, hey, I don't know if you deserve it yet.
Experience.
So right.
This is kind of a turn off, and I'm definitely not going to do it for safety reasons, bitch.
Yeah. So I was just like, I was like, we'll see how well you do now, and see if you deserve it later. Hoping that be like, I will play into this game with you, but like this is also me being like, this is as far as I'm going right now. And like, I'll tell you in the space in the game that we're playing here, but I could tell like they were annoyed and upset and frustrated and stuff. And I was just like, this is like,
but that just
you
tells
getting
me
frustrated
all I need to know about.
I'm now getting turned off because I know you're
sure.
not like you're not working with me, and I'm concerned for your future safety. It was one of those things where I was just like, oh man, if we're going to do this again, we need a long fucking conversation about what you're comfortable with.
Yeah. So be safe, be chill, and don't fucking take it out on your partner when they're either doing what you have said or like are being a good lover or chill. Like, you know, and also just don't say this.
Don't open the anything you want door and then cross have the line that you don't want crossed to be
the most normal thing.
One of the most common foreplay.
Like, this was probably a thing he was doing while thinking, what do I want to do with her? Because it probably didn't even cross his mind that you'd be like, whoa.
And there's sometimes what I do want to do is go down on you.
Yeah.
Right? That's
I want to level up here before we head over to the hills. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
This is by a deleted user. Should I have told the man at the gym that he makes me feel sweaty, so I can't work out near him? He has been kind of flirty, but someone I know saw him at a place with a female and dogs.
God damn. Those female dogs ruin everything.
Female and dogs.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah. I know.
Well, okay.
I mean, they could be female dogs as well.
They could be.
We don't know.
Why? We couldn't even assume.
Look, if someone came up to me and said, you make me so fucking sweaty, I think I would be concerned. I don't know if I would. Yeah,
no, for real. Like anyone, like even if someone was like, hey girl, like, hey, we're chatting, and she's like, you make me sweaty. I'd be like, oh, okay.
I'm like, all right, cool. Like
that's weird.
Yeah,
I've never had someone say that. I'm also not even sure a lot of people I know do get like that when they're like, oh, they're hot. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know.
Hot and sweaty is like, I don't think people are being really specific. Like they're not being literal.
Well, you can get hot and sweaty with someone, but it's usually there's a physical interaction involved there, right? Like
they make me hot and sweaty. So.
Yeah, I don't look at someone and start being like, ugh. But I mean, I guess as a teenager, I would if I was nervous,
I guess,
right? But
I also would never mention that.
No, that is something that I think we all actively try to.
Mm-hmm. If I go up to someone you make my dick swell, that's not great either.
Yeah,
and there are things that might happen that you don't want to talk about. So,
and if you're looking to flirt with this guy, you're if this is your move, if this is kind of what you want to do to break the ice, it shouldn't be. No, let people work out. Are you following him around and working out? Are you working out? He shows up. What's the scenario here? Because if this guy's just fucking doing some fucking curls in the mirror to make sure his form is good, and you just slink on over to his ear and just hey, I'd love to work out right here, but you make me so sweaty. I feel like, what the fuck is happening?
Yeah. I also I can't work out near you. Kind of seems like go away from me. Don't it's the opposite of hey, come here. It's no, I'm gonna be over here.
And again,
person I only see in this environment.
Depending who's approaching who, is he coming into your space and you're no, you can't be here. You make me too sweaty. That's how is me just saying that out loud. Do you think that works? Do you think that's checking some boxes?
And that's the thing. That's why he's elsewhere with a female and some dogs.
Yeah, she's not getting all sweaty.
Exactly. Yeah. So, have you heard of antiperspirant? No. This is you could have gone. You could be oh my god, I'm trying to work out, but you're distracting me.
You're distracting. I get nervous. You know what I mean? It's
even distracting. I think is fun, cute, playful, good. Nervous is. It's still fine.
You can find a playful way of doing it. Yeah. If being I was going to do some squats as well, but I'm nervous around how much you're putting up. You know what I mean? Things you could.
That big old booty is making me feel real.
Putting up as in the weight. No. How much weight you're putting up?
No, putting up some booties.
Putting up some
those
ass.
Booty numbers. PR, that booty PR.
Again, it's. The gym is such a weird place because I feel so many people are just kind of you get the white person smile, the flat pleasant, the sort of
what you do when you're hiking and you walk by someone.
Yes, just the sort of acknowledgement smile, just to be polite, and everyone is people are there to get jacked, right? People are there to look good, and I'm not saying that
they're there to come.
They're there to get sweaty.
They're there to sweat.
And the thing is, it's also not weird to be sweaty at a gym.
Yeah.
Right? It'd be different if you were at a pottery class.
Maybe
class.
she's not there to work out, and she's like, "Oh, whoa, sweaty? No,
Yeah.
I'm here to just take pictures for Instagram.
Yeah, I'm not
just
this.
creeping." But you,
Yeah, like if you were at like a fucking pottery class or like a fucking paint night or something, and you're just fucking drenched, then I would
please, my clay, it was fine, and the consistency was good, but now it's so wet.
Yeah, like I would
understand.
I would understand
My
your
plates are just a puddle.
your nervousness or sort of like your embarrassment in that scenario. But like you're at a gym, presumably doing physical activity. Everyone in the gym should be sweaty to some degree, or they're not working hard enough.
So let's be fair here. Telling someone to not come near you is not a good way to hit on someone.
No.
Telling someone about a thing, and again, sweat isn't that gross, but it's definitely not the hottest. You know what I mean? Like, it's one of those things we don't love. Like, if someone's walks in the office and they're drenched in sweat, you don't go, nice. You go, oof.
Yeah.
Like, it's embarrassing. Pit stains and sweat. And, like, sweat isn't hot. Even though it can be and is in other ways. It's not in this way, right? We can agree on that.
I don't think there's anything you can say would be like, oh, you can't work out here. Like you said, it's like,
yes, telling someone to leave is
you
bad.
make me hard. Oh, you can't work out. You're making me too wet. Like any of these things is gross, right? Like any sort of like
physical,
around here has a physical, like visceral reaction to me, stranger I've never talked to, right? Like I don't want to, like if my partner
did this, it would be fucking weird. Like you're lucky that you have the power and like socially where a woman hitting on a man is like fine. Like no one's going to get upset, really.
I would be at this.
Well, I know, but like you're not going to go and tell the staff and the staff aren't going to kick her
I
out.
might.
You should, but you're not going to because society's going to be like, no, man, not today.
If my partner or someone I was hooking up with, leaned over at the bar and been like, for whatever reasons, like you're making me wet, you're making me hard. Like
that's fine.
That's fine. You have that connection.
Mm-hmm.
But like if you've never talked to this dude before and immediately go like, hey, you're having this very real reaction to my body.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter what like crying, sweating, twitching,
even
shaking, like
nervous
anything
is I'd say as close to that as you can get without being weird.
That's an emotional state. You're right. Like,
but it's still, it's a thing that your body's doing. And even then, when you said nervous earlier, I was like, because you're distracting me, I think, is much better.
100%. Yes.
Just chill, girl. We talked about this when women come in like a sledgehammer, when they could have a scalpel or maybe a flower, like a nice, oh, hello. You're coming in, you're like, boom, I'm sweating so much because I want your dick. Get away from me. And then you're like, weird. He's on the other side of the gym now with a female and some dogs.
Yeah.
Also, he's not allowed to be around a woman.
I mean,
you said female, which is weird. Like, are you an incel posing as a...
This is like you've overthought so much of every aspect of this.
Yeah.
And there's no way of knowing whether this person is in a relationship or has a girlfriend or whatever. So shooting your shot is fine. You can shoot your shot and they might say, oh, that's very sweet of you. I have a partner. I have a girlfriend. I have a whatever.
Also, like yelling, because I assume it wasn't said at a normal volume. Like, get away from me, you make me so sweaty, is actually way weirder if they do have a partner.
Yeah.
Like, that's so uncomfortable. And it's already so uncomfortable.
It's not great at any point in time.
So maybe don't.
Maybe don't.
Yeah.
We have time for one more, I think. Mm-hmm. This is from Professor Snape, my fave. Not having small labia makes me never want to have sex. And I can't stop feeling so insecure. My labia isn't super big, but it's not an innie, and I feel like every guy prefers an innie. I'm going to get labiaplasty done when I'm older and can afford it. But in the meantime, I'm scared of someone seeing it IRL, to be honest. It was IRL TBH. I don't want it to be, no guy's going to complain about looks. They're getting pussy regardless. I want them to actually find my vulva pretty and not just, pussy is pussy, or they just want to fuck me. They're not caring about how it looks, because that makes me feel even worse. Like, I know labia size wouldn't put off a dude from sleeping with you, but just the fact that I know they'd rather be with an innie makes me upset and feel super insecure. Do most guys actually prefer innies, or is my sex life going to be ruined forever? And is my sex life going to be ruined forever? Or do some men actually prefer how outies look?
I've never heard the term innies for this, nor do I think it's appropriate.
No, I mean, like, I guess outies kind of works.
Something, I guess, but innies,
like,
that's not it, girl.
No, it has me questioning everything.
Is it?
I get what she's saying.
I know what she means, but innies is not it.
No. And I don't like the idea of like
it like retracting like some kind of like Batmobile door.
Yeah, or like there's like a
It's
sleeve
in there.
inside.
Yeah.
Like it's like they're still
Maybe
there.
is that what happens to labiaplasty? They just push them up.
Ugh.
Push them up, push them up. Also, girl, you don't know they would prefer what I refuse to call an innie. You think, and you're mistaken.
And
No
your
one,
your insecurity is so rampant now that it doesn't matter what anyone will say to you either. That like you will never believe anyone.
Yes.
So long as you don't like. There have been so many art projects that have been like focused on the fact that vaginas and vulvas, specifically the labia, are so insanely varied.
Yep.
Right? I would argue that they are far more unique in like what you're going to get than a penis. In terms of not necessarily size or shape or whatever, but I feel like for the most part, you're either circumcised or uncircumcised, and like girth and size and whatever.
Big.
Yeah, but like
Blue.
there isn't like extra
Veins.
parts, right?
You hope not.
I hope not. But like I feel like every vulva I've seen in my life has been a fairly different experience.
Look, like I get what you're saying with the whole like I don't want to hear that. Sorry, I'm not talking to you. I'm talking.
Yes,
to you.
yeah.
Like you don't want to hear a guy just be like, oh, they don't care, like they just want to fuck, and I get it because that's dehumanizing and it's like taking you out of the equation, and you want to be in the equation.
Yeah,
and we've said stuff that might come across like that.
Yeah,
but I don't think that's true. But at the same time, like and I want this to be reassuring, so I'm trying to phrase it properly. I don't have a favorite labia that I've slept with.
I have never once thought of it.
Yes, but not in a bad way.
Not in a bad way.
Like not in a, it's not there for me. Not in a, I'm like, I'm not rating and categorizing you. I'm not like measuring you up against each other, either literally or figuratively.
Or like, I'm not on Tinder being like, oh man, she's really cute. Really hope she's got an innie. Yeah. Right? Like or like when
don't even say it because it's not.
Like, when I'm about to take off a pair of underwears, I'm not like, please don't be an outie. Please don't. You know what I mean? Like, it's not a thought that's ever crossed my mind.
I've also slept with a lot of people, and every single one of them has had different labias.
Yeah.
In every regard. And I have never been put off or turned off or negatively impacted by a single one.
And that's, again, not to say that there aren't some assholes who want every vagina and every vulva to look what they've seen in porn.
Keyword there, asshole.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
If they care, they're an asshole, or they're a young fucking idiot, which is so close to being an asshole that there's no real...
Or you've incepted it into their mind.
Yes.
Right? Like, the only time I've ever sort of fixated on a flaw, quote unquote, or like something that someone is insecure about is when they've made such a big fucking deal about it. Like, there was someone I slept with once who didn't ever want to take their bra off because they were really ashamed of their nipples. They were like, I have really big nipples. And I was like...
Sounds great.
I was like, that's fine. I was like, just so you know, I'm very body positive.
Yeah.
I'm attracted to you and your body is you. And it's all sort of like part of the package for me. So I was like, by all means, if you are going to have better sex and more enjoyable sex by keeping your bra on, totally fine. But if you want to experiment feeling a little freer or whatever, I will be. And they took it off, and I was like, it was the only time where I was like, I clocked them, and if they weren't ever mentioned, I wouldn't have even thought twice about them. And like,
I feel like that's most things. Like
they were fine.
Yeah,
there was literally nothing to be upset about for any reason whatsoever. But like, if she hadn't said anything,
it never would have even crossed her mind.
It wouldn't have even been a thought in my brain at any point in time.
Yeah, I will say you are fine. You don't need this surgery. You sound quite young, but like, you need to work on this insecurity because, as Dane said a very true thing, which is nothing's going to change how you're feeling. It doesn't seem like, because you're not going to believe a thing somebody's saying.
Yeah, because like the only two ways that it's going to go is you're going to tell them ahead of time, and then you're going to hyperanalyze everything that they do while, like, if they're going down on you, or
you're
they don't
not going to tell them, and you're also going to hyperanalyze.
Or like after, like you hook up and then you mention it to them, and they're like, oh no, it's fine, like I didn't care at all, like it means nothing to me, and you're going to be like, no, like I don't believe him.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Or oh great, he doesn't even like he's just not even there to him. It's like. It's like, Not in a bad way, but it doesn't matter.
And I get it. You want to be, you want a very sensitive part of you to be enjoyed and worshipped and sort of looked at and be like, that's it. That's the one I want. There it is. We feel the same way about our dicks, right? Like,
also, like, if you look at society and fucking media, what are we talking about all the time? Men's dicks and, small dick energy, big dick energy, like, Mr. Big, like, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, I'd love to know.
Are
there any sitcom episodes where it turns out that, like, the male can't date?
Yeah.
Probably the male lead is like.
I would say actually probably not, but maybe. No, I don't know. Like, I don't.
Like, maybe like a really, like, Trailer Park Boys or something like that. Like,
Seinfeld.
That's meant to be, like, raunchy and stupid, where the people are idiots. But, like, I don't think there's a Friends episode where Joey's like, I went on a date with, Sasha, and I'll never see her again because she had big labia. Like, but there's certainly episodes where it's penis size related, right? So it's like it's
everywhere.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, we would have to probably deep dive back a couple of decades or into, like, as you said, like a particularly, like, we're raunchy for the sake of raunchy thing to try to find that, and it would be for shock value. Shock meaning it's not common. Whereas, and like,
it's usually
you can find any show and they're going to talk about fucking
like
dick.
that
like
dude,
SpongeBob. They talk about dick size all the time.
All the time.
Yeah.
Like, and it's usually going to be like the asshole dude that's the one doing it, right? Like, it won't be the hero character, right?
Whereas it'll be women, like, it's the hero is like, oh no.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, like, not to be like, well, look at our problems.
Yeah.
Like, I hope we didn't make too light of this either, because I know it's really hard to have an insecurity and to, like, they're not meant to make sense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They don't. You know what I mean? But they feel so real and so powerful, and it's really hard to get away from them. We're not belittling this. It's just we've had this come up, and it sucks to hear, and we want you to get past it.
This is something that, like, you're not going to get resolved by someone else. This is something where you're going to have to, like, do a hard sort of, like, I love my body. I'm confident in my body. I feel comfortable in my body. And I really, really hope that you, like, I think getting cosmetic surgery for unnecessary reasons on your genitals is a risk. Like, I can't imagine this is a super
best case. You're losing a bunch of sensitivity, right?
Right. Like, I don't know enough about it, but I think that there's a point in time where that I really, really hope that you feel so comfortable in your body that you don't feel like this is necessary.
Yes. I also feel like if you don't fix the root cause, which is your insecurity, I don't know if the plastic surgery is going to get you to a point where that's gone.
Yeah, because you'll fall into the slippery slope of sort of like constantly tweaking, constantly being like, I need to do this, I need to do that.
Or maybe it's not perfect, or maybe someone reacts a certain way or something, and then you're like, wait, did I not do it? Did I do it too much? Did I, like... The insecurity is the problem far more so than anything else. And again, like, I'm not going to say plastic surgery is bad or good or whatever. I'm just saying having insecurities like this, they work like that. They fuck you up. Nothing's perfect. You don't just do a thing and you're like, oh, it's solved by external means. That's just never worked.
Yeah. I highly recommend talking to a sexual therapist. It's not just for couples. It will really help you sort of reconcile your insecurities with your body, because, like, there really isn't anything you can do about it outside of sort of, medical procedures and stuff like that. But it's like, it's not like I can go to the gym and do fucking dick lifts and make my dick bigger.
You just rip it off.
You just do real bad damage to it.
Maybe that's what he's doing. She's like, you made me so
sweaty.
Just looking at those dick lifts.
So, like, I think there's a level where you have to sort of internalize love and care for yourself and be okay with who you are and what you have, and be like, if this isn't good enough for someone, that's their fucking problem.
And that's the thing. They're probably an asshole if this is the case, or they're an idiot. Like, I don't think you can be anything other than one of those two things. You can either be so, like, naive and dumb that you actually buy into this weird thing, or you've only ever seen porn, so that, like, once you don't see a porn vagina, you're like, blah, or you're an asshole. Like, I really don't think there's a third option where you're like, girl, where's that innie though?
And if you find someone that cares about you and loves you and all those great, lovely, emotional things, then we've talked about it before in the past, where it's like, I will grow more attracted to someone the more I connect with them on sort of like a social level, right? So even if like they will get turned on by your body as an extension of who you are as a person, and the more you
also
project
because of your body, and it's like it's just me this perfect cycle of like. And each feeds into the other.
The more you sort of project your insecurities on people, the more likely that sort of perfect circle is going to start having, chunks taken out of it as a result of that. So I really, really hope you can find, like I said, talk to a sexual therapist, discuss this with them. I promise you, they will direct you to, again, one of the many, many, many art projects and installations. There was a great one at the CNE a few years ago. I think before the pandemic, and they were like molds of vaginas, and it was like a bit about who the person was, like a lovely headshot of that person, like doing the thing that they do, like gardening or pottery or whatever, a little blurb about them, and then it's just like they're like a mold of their vulva, and it's just like it was there to be like we could switch all these things around and you would never know, right? Like you would never be able to look at, Helen, who's been a gardener at a fucking resort for 40 years and be like, that's her vagina. There it is right
also,
there.
It doesn't matter.
And that, like, that was the thing. It was like, it's so inconsequential to who they are as people and as women.
Yeah. And also none of them were bad.
No. So
I will say, like, obviously see a therapist if you can, but like things like this, you can also work on yourself. Like you can seek out these things. You can read stuff. There's always the ability to build yourself up, even a little bit. Like, I don't want to ever take the responsibility or like the power away from people. We're like, sometimes I think a lot of people are like, well, I don't have money for therapy, or therapy's stressful. I can't do it. And there's nothing I can do. So I'll just sit in this. You can always better your mental state and by like working on it.
Go, watch the vagina monologues.
Watch the vagina monologues.
That's like the whole fucking point of it.
Look at these art things. Read people who are insecure on fucking Reddit. You'll find posts. I'm sure there are nice comments on this. I hope there are.
Yeah.
God knows if there are, because there are assholes out there. But you are fine. You are fine. Just work on the insecurity.
Yeah.
We got a quick old Tinder, and this is an update from last week.
Hell yeah.
From the one we did from Agent Winchester.
Okay.
And I love it. They've taken our advice on board. I'm elbowing the laptop. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. So we got some new pictures outside of work, a little hiking, a very cute kitty walking across a very well stacked bookshelf, which I love because it's a dual, like it works on two levels.
Are they in that picture?
No, they're not.
Okay.
They're cute cat bookshelf, and there are other pictures of them. So like, I'm not upset that they're not in it. I like that. Yeah, I see your taste in books, and I see that you have a well-stocked thing, and that tells me about you. And then like doing some fun stuff, and just, it's cool. It's a lot more personable. It's not just work. I think it's a really good job. About me, I manually stimulated the breeding process for a horse today. How was your day at work? I'm really far behind on Marvel movies. Anyone want to watch? My weird but true story is, I can quote books backwards and forwards, but couldn't tell you what my shopping list is for Walmart. Looking for, long-term, open to short. My biography would probably be called, My Book Collection Borders on Obsession, a self-guide to spending all your money. Me, I'm a grown-up, also me. I just spent 30 minutes debating on if I needed to hit the buy button on Amazon, and telling myself I'm an adult. I don't need to ask permission.
Hell yeah.
It's fun.
Yeah.
I know more about you now. I know who you are.
My only tweak, I got one tweak, and that would be include the last Marvel movie you saw.
Okay, cool, yeah.
That's my only thing, because I think that is, you've got like the hook, and I think that would be really delicious bait, because if you're like, oh, I haven't seen Endgame yet or something, right?
Yeah.
I think anyone who's passionate about that is going to be like, hold on, you stopped watching before you saw Endgame or before you saw Infinity War. Like, I think the people who are going to nerd out about that hook,
yes,
would be, because like they might also be like, oh, like you've seen Infinity War, everything after that you can kind of take a pass on.
Or even just like, oh, I really enjoyed this one.
Yeah,
let's skip 3, but let's watch this. But yeah,
you've got the spice now to sort of like lure people in with a little bit more. So I think that's the only little hint I would give you. Other than that, I love it. It's a great change.
No, you've done really well. Good job.
Yeah,
good job. Hell yeah. I'm gonna thank Josh Eagle and the Harvest Cities for their Sonic Paper Stars. And I'm going to just bring you over for some bad sex writing.
Hell yeah.
This is... we should probably say other stuff, like goodbye. Thank you for listening.
Thanks a lot.
We love you. Please rate, review us, join our Patreon. You'll find us all on all of our socials. If you're on TikTok, come join us. We got videos up there.
Yeah.
If you
got doing a great job putting like our social media stuff together. We got less like episode stuff, which is fine because you're listening to it anyway. But what the juice is the live show stuff.
Yes.
Those are the video content you don't wanna miss.
Because you see our faces.
You see our faces.
You see us live in our element, doing our thing.
Yeah, not in a hot closet.
No, not in a hot closet. So yeah, if you have a friend you think would like us, send us their way, please. We love you. This is by Michael R. Fletcher, and it is a book called Black Stone Heart. My Henka had been a tiny creature, easily lifted. This woman's arms were round with muscle, her stomach a hard plane of ridged abdominals. I stared up at her, unable to think or speak. Small nipples and dark areolas, flawless, breathtaking, a goddess. She'd always been surprisingly strong for her size. Now I doubted she'd have trouble tearing me apart with her bare hands. Looking past the breasts, I examined her face.
I mean, it makes sense. It's like a sonar, right? Like the breasts are further out than the face, right? So I've got to see, and then like
nipple, areola, face, neck.
Yeah,
that's it.
That's how I look at people. Yeah, completely normal way. It does kind of read like the scene in American Psycho where they're comparing business cards, where he's like, "Oh, cardstock, nice." Like with the small nipples, dark areolas, perfect. It does.
What are you talking about?
Have you not seen American Psycho where they're like, they're like trading like business cards and like there's like his internal monologue of he's like, how did Jerry get a business card like that? Would a stupid schlub have such taste in cards? Like it sounds like it kind of reads very American Psycho-y.
I will say when someone gives me a card with like better stock than our cards, I'm like,
damn it, we've
been cooked.
Yeah, you got us. God damn it. But then we show them our small dark areola nipples.
Yeah.
And we bring it back around.
Right back around.
My name is Dave Miller.
And I'm Niall Spain.
And we've been your fuck buddies.